Hey Lucy, so I'm gonna go over this flowchart with you. Start is the beginning of putting some sort of number into the system or some number that was entered into the system so that's why it's an input, putting something in. And then you save it into a variable called my number, okay? It could be a computer screen where it pops up and asks you for a number, and then you could hit the computer, the keyboard, and for a 4, and it would send a 4 and save it into the variable called my number, which would become a 4 because it's kind of like a little storage box, right? To save any integer that is entered into the system. So again, imagine yourself typing a 4 on the keyboard and it gets entered into an input. That's why the input brings it in and saves it into your my number, okay? And now it is a 4 because you, like let's say, for example, picked a 4. So now you go to the next step and it says set my number equals set my answer equals my number times 10. So what does it really mean? It's saying make this my answer and making it like setting it to become I don't know how to say, like I guess saving that number as my answer, okay? So now what you want to do is basically what it's really asking for you is like a little equation, like algebra equation, where you replace that 4 in memory becomes this number, my number, because that's what that variable is. So now you put 4 times 10, right? Because 10 is already pre-existing. My number has no number until you entered a 4. So now 4 times 10 equals 40. And so basically this is saying that this my answer now is a 40. So now you just stored 40 into my answer, okay? So now my answer is 40. It's like a little storage box. And when you did the equation 4 times 10 and it came out 40, you saved that 40 as my answer. All right? So now you go to the next spot and it says output my answer. My answer is now has 40 inside of it. So it wants you to print it out. So now you're going to print out 40. And so when it says output, you can do like it would like print out like a little computer screen and it print like a 40 out because it's asking for my answer variable, okay? So that is what's stored in there. Just remember, these are like little containers and you store data in here, like for example an integer. This is considered an integer because it's a number. All right, if it's got decimals, then it's a float, okay? So you got to remember, these store data and you put it in here because in memory, if it's not in here, it needs to be put in some spot, like to save as a in memory. So therefore, that's why you have these variables to save these, so you can like do equations and stuff with, okay? So now, I hope you understand that when you start, you go, it says input my number. So like you type in a number and you picked a 4 from your computer screen through a keyboard and it enters a 4, and then this my variable then saves it, this 4 into this container, okay, called a variable. This is a variable, but I just can't say it like a container because then just think of a container and you can put stuff in it. That's what it really is. So saving your 4. Now you go down here and it says set. So you're now it wants you to set your my answer to whatever answer result that came out, okay? So then you take your 4, because it says my number times 10, so you take your 4 down here times 10 equals 40. And then when you get the 40 is the result, the equals 40 over here, which saying to save that 40 as my answer, okay? And then once at the end it says output my answer, it means to print it out to the computer screen. And because my answer is equal to 40, you print 40. And that is what it's saying.